Welcome to the Visionaries, champions of industry, where we delve into the lives and minds of exceptional leaders who have shaped the business world. In today's episode, we have the privilege of sitting down with the one and only Sameer Daoud, the esteemed managing director of KEO Consultants. With a career marketed in innovation, leadership, and truly a commitment to excellence, Sameer has played a vital role in driving KEO Consultants to new heights in the realm of engineering and architecture. And without further ado, it's an absolute pleasure welcoming you here in our offices, Sameer.
It is my absolute pleasure, Mina. Thank you so much for having me today.
And thank you for coming. How are you doing today?
All is good, all is good. Excited and looking forward to this session, and I believe that we have a lot to share. It's always good to be in these kind of forums where you can actually share with people your experience and your knowledge, and hopefully looking for a better future.
Definitely. Now, to start, I just wanted to take you all the way back in time and ask you what really inspired you, let's say, to pursue a career in engineering and in management?
When you say back in time, it makes me feel like I'm a bit old. I'm not. Okay, so
sorry about that.
No, it's all right. What made me be an engineer? Tell you the truth, since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be an engineer. It's a passion, and when I reached the stage to go into college, the first thing that came to my mind that I want to do and design and build things. I want to see things, I want to feel them, I want to see them, I want to appreciate them. A lot of people, with all due respect to all professions, but they don't have the pleasure of actually doing something, completing it, and get to the point that they can actually walk into it or walk on top of it or see it by their own eyes.
Right.
It makes a huge difference. It gives you a pleasure that is worth the trouble.
Right. And could you maybe share with us that journey then and the experiences that really led you to becoming the managing director of KEO?
I wouldn't say it was easy. It's always challenging to be in that position. But I always believed in a simple, aspect on when you wake up in the morning and you think about how I'm going to be better the next day. What do I need to do to improve myself? And I always tell my people and my colleagues, don't take your job as if it's just a job. Think about it as it's your step forward. It's a place where you need to overperform so that you can take the next level. Where I started as a young engineer like everybody else, but I always was looking forward to see what about the next levels, what are they doing? And I tried to do it while I'm in that position. And step by step, the companies realize that he's a young engineer, but he's already doing the work of a senior engineer. So I get promoted by default. Yeah. A senior engineer was doing a project management role. So I was by default getting promoted to that position. And I was lucky enough that I was able to have the opportunity to come to this part of the world where it was booming at the time. I did what I had to do, working hard, working smart, building a proper network, getting involved in mega projects that a lot of people dream to work around. Definitely. And that gave me, absolutely, and that gave me the opportunity and the ability to fulfill these roles. And I've been an MD, I would have to say, since 2011, so it's not something new. It's something that I'm always proud to say and to share with people, that at the youngest age ever, I was able to achieve the highest positions, not because I'm too smart, I like to think I am, but because I truly believed and I'm very passionate about what I do. I love what I do.
It's good to know your worth as well.
Yeah.
Now, talking about opportunities, what's new in KEO at the moment?
KEO is very innovative, let's put it this way. And we always look at the future. We don't look at what we have at the moment only. We do look at what we have, but we are always like to be at least 2 or 3 steps ahead of the game. Last week or so, we had our yearly annual conference that we bring the most senior individuals within the business getting together to do more of a brainstorming and share knowledge, and at the same time thinking about what do we want to achieve. And we're not talking about 1 year ahead, we're talking about 4 or 5 years at least at a minimum, about where we want to be. And one of the biggest things that we're also focusing on is the innovation part, looking at the technologies around, looking at AI. Everybody talks about AI. But does everybody understand what AI is about?
Right.
And how we can utilize AI to be part of the business rather than being a threat? How you can utilize AI to actually deliver something better with a better quality to our community and to our clients? That's the type of focus that KEO is focusing on right now, is how to become or how to actually be part of a better future from quality of projects, better future from quality of the environment and having a better people, within the business, making sure that we get to the point that we meet the qualities A lot of clients talk about quality of life, but unfortunately, when it comes to cost constraints, that quality of life becomes a little bit shady. So if we can achieve that quality of life within the same budgets that our clients do have, then it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Right, but how would you say your company really balances out that approach between innovation, but also practicality in its designs and in its projects?
It's a very good question, and I'm thanking you for asking such a question.
Part of my job.
We do what we call hybrid management. This is what we do within KEO. A lot of companies, they follow the traditional approach, which is the traditional, way of delivering things and the traditional way of even managing their own businesses, which they have been doing for the last 20, 30 years. It's about, reading the scope, understanding the project, putting the teams together and submitting that. What we do within KEO is a little bit different. We actually have a combination between the traditional approach and the agile approach, and taking the best of the agile approach with the traditional approach, combining them together, and actually giving a better ability for our teams and our clients as well to be part of a creativity aspect, a part of innovative aspect, giving them the opportunity to explore different ways that could be faster, that could be better, and promoting better technologies, being adaptable to the certain conditions around the world, because what we have in this particular part of the world is very unique. And it doesn't exist in different places. So your experience in any place around the world is great and beautiful, but you have to be agile so that you can tailor that experience to make it work within the GCC countries. That's the beauty about KEO, to be able to promote innovation, but at the same time, being able to deliver. Combining the best between the two approaches, you have the perfect formula to overcome any challenge that you might come up with.
Right, and I believe sustainability and technological advancements play a big role in this.
It's part and parcel. It's part of our DNA, I would love to say that. When we're talking about sustainability, it's not just about the environment. The environment, of course, is the key factor. It's the major thing. But when it comes to sustainability, it's for every single thing that we do, starting from the way that we operate within our own offices, to the way that we deliver things, to the way that we design them in a more sustainable way, to the way that we actually select the materials and specify what needs to be done. All of that is being considered as part of our approach.
Definitely. Now, as a prominent leader in the consultancy industry, I wanted to ask you, how do you navigate, how do you adapt to all those ever-evolving trends and challenges? I mean, we live in a region where things had to be done yesterday, where things are changing every, couple of minutes, if I'm not mistaken. How do you adapt to that?
As I mentioned earlier about being agile while you're still following the traditional aspect, but there is an important part. And when I mentioned to you about the annual conference that we had last week, and we were paving the way for the next few years, when you have a proper plan in place, and you actually plan for the opportunities and the risks, you are in a better position to be more in a proactive way rather than a reactive way. Every market has its own challenges, political, geophysical, you're talking about natural disasters, you're talking about budget constraints, financial constraints, that could happen at any time. The beauty about KEO in particular is the fact that we have that ability to predict, and we have the ability to plan for the opportunities and the challenges as well. So when an opportunity or a challenge comes around, we already planned for it. So it's not a surprise. So, and combining, as I said, the agility into our traditional way of what we're doing. So we have the ability to adapt, and we have the ability to diversify. That makes us unique, and that gives us the opportunity to be able to overcome those challenges. Because those challenges are not just for KEO. They are for governments, for clients. We're all on the same page. And anything that happens around the world as well does affect us over here. So as much as you are planning properly and you're doing proper risk management in place and when I say risk management, risks are not just challenges or bad things, there could be good things. And sometimes when a good thing happens and you're not able to cope with it, then you're failing as well. So you're always planning for the good and the bad, and you're trying to be in a better position to be more agile in one way or another.
And would you say that this is the exact secret which makes you stay at the forefront of innovation?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you look around these days, everybody talks about innovation. Everybody talks about AI. Everybody talks about sustainability. But how much really of those big words are being implemented in your day-to-day lifestyle and in your day-to-day way of delivering things?
Right.
And if you get to the position that that becomes part of your DNA and part of your culture, then you are on the right track.
Right, and implementation is the key word in this.
Absolutely. You know, people can spend 5 years strategizing. That 5 minutes of implementing that strategy is the key. People can talk about strategies, can actually talk about future plans. The implementation is actually what makes you different than others. Right. And as much as you keep pushing for the implementation, because that's your strategy that you're believing in it, that's your strategy that is part and parcel of your way and your path for the future. Definitely. And we're talking about better future, then I want to make it happen. I just don't want to say I don't want to put that slogan, behind my screen and say, better future. Okay, but what are you doing about it? How Right. You're implementing it, how you're pushing it. And this is who we are.
And what would you say is a project that you're most proud of?
Plenty. KEO,
it's hard to say, right?
It's hard. KEO has been there since 1964. So we're almost reaching our 60 years of being a good, strong part of this revolution that took place in the industry and in the GCC countries in particular. KEO has been there to witness the biggest projects around the GCC, all the way, even in the recent days, from the stadiums in Qatar to the revolution and the boom that is happening in Saudi Arabia, to the massive projects that we're delivering in Abu Dhabi and Dubai and Northern Emirates. It's crazy. I cannot really just think of one project. Just to tell you that, the amount of work that we are delivering right now for a better future for our communities and our clients is quite amazing. And the list is just endless.
Right. They're all beneficial for the communities around.
Absolutely.
I can imagine. Now, I think the main point in this whole conversation then is communication and collaboration, especially when we talk about projects. So I wanted to ask you, how do you really balance out those internal, external collaborations? And if there's any advice, what would it be?
That's a very interesting question, because there is no one size that fits all, let's put it this way. But there are main key points that people need to focus on. I would always start with communication. As long as you have clear and direct communication internally and externally, it actually waves and gets rid of ambiguities.
It's the right energy to have.
Absolutely. And when you don't have ambiguities, you're in a position actually to be able to communicate and get the right message to the other side of the business, or to your clients, or to the external parties that are working with you. And then by default, you get the people to be with you on the same page. And when the people are on the same page, you're actually generating collaboration by default. That's one part. The second part as well is making sure that between the consultants and the contractors and the clients, we share the same objectives. So as long as we are clear and communicating about the objectives and we share the same passion, collaboration will happen by default. Right. You cannot force people to collaborate. You incentivize them. You provide them with the tools to collaborate. And then you're expecting the collaboration to happen by default.
And you also employ people that are eager to collaborate.
Absolutely. Well, this is the thing, this market has becoming so challenging, I would put it this way. And even to recruit people is not an easy thing these days. Finding the right people who are willing to make a difference is not an easy job.
Right.
And I'm proud to say that between 2,500 people within KEO, I would say 99.9% are very, very keen to be a player, a good player within this challenge that we're having in the market. Most of the people that we have in the business, if not all of the people, are keen to make a difference on a personal level and a professional level as well. And this is where our job as leaders within the company is to make sure that we give them the support that they need, that we back them up, we look after them, and we provide them with the flexibility and ability to innovate, to be creative. Give them the opportunity to think outside the box. Give them the opportunity to make mistakes so that they can learn from them.
Right.
But that's where we are. We are in that position to help them to overcome those challenges.
And the 0.1% is learning and is getting there.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're working on it.
Right. Now, I cannot avoid but ask you about COP28, obviously. It's taking place in the region now. Sustainability is a big word. You did mention that it's part of KEO's DNA to be sustainable. So I just wanted to ask you, can you be sustainable in your projects and cost efficient at the same time?
See, this is the problem. A lot of people think if you want to be sustainable, it means that you're going to have to spend more money. Not necessarily. Being sustainable, it means that you're going to have to open your eyes to the new available tools that you have in the market, to the new technologies that allows you to be sustainable, to be environmentally friendly, to reduce the carbon emission, and at the same time to be cost effective. The problem that when people don't actually start looking into sustainable approaches from day one, and then they try to bring it towards the end or sometime in the middle of the design perspective or construction aspect within the project life cycle. This is, I think, where sustainability fails. But if you start with a sustainable approach from day one and it becomes part and parcel of your project life cycle from the planning and the visioning stage even for that project and all the way through delivery, then you have a successful sustainable project that is cost effective as well. And this is where you get the ability to get the people to start looking into recycled materials, into 3D printing, into the ability to use the new technologies that allows you to be environmentally friendly and sustainable at the same time, and you're not spending too much money. What happened in the last few years in an unfortunate position is that the project starts and then somebody comes in and they say, oh, let's bring sustainable approach into the equation. And then they realize, oh, we're gonna have to spend a lot of money to rectify what we have already done.
Right.
But if you start from the beginning, then definitely you are on the right approach and you can create or generate a lot of cost savings in one way or another. There is also another aspect, because when we're talking about cost efficiency, it's not necessarily at the beginning or throughout the life cycle of the project as well. There is also a cost saving towards the operation and maintenance period, towards the life cycle of the project itself after it's being delivered to the communities or to the customers or to the consumers who are actually going to utilize that project. And this is where we need to think about it as well. It's not only just about saving the cost of the construction building itself, but how much actually you are saving in the carbon emission, how much you are saving in the energy consumption. And you look at it in a 5 or 10 years or 20 or 30 years from now, that's also a cost, effectiveness that you need to consider as part of your projects as well.
And do you believe it always pays off in the long term?
Absolutely. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. It pays off for us as engineers. It pays off back for us as developers and contractors. And the most important part, it pays off for the community, for the generations to come. When you're creating the right, sustainable, friendly environment, then you're talking about a better future for our people, for our kids, for the generations to come in the future, that they will be living in a more sustainable and friendly, environmentally friendly and healthier place to live in.
Right, well, ending our interview on a positive note about a better future, my last question for you would be, with all the experience that you have now, the decades of experience that you've earned, if I were to give you a time machine and you could go back in time, what would you advise that younger version of yourself?
Oh, wow, that's a very interesting question. What advice I would give people
to little Sameer?
To little Sameer, if I go back and let's say Sameer was 18 years old and I want to give him a piece of advice.
Do not enter engineering.
No, not really. No, as I told you, I was in love with it and I'm still in love with engineering, and I wouldn't have chosen any different path. But it's easy for people to say, I would have done exactly the same thing. No. We all have made mistakes and we learned from our mistakes. We are who we are today because of those mistakes, by the way. If we didn't have those mistakes, we would have been different people.
Something else.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if there is any advice that I would give people is to take the risk, get out of your comfort zone, because your comfort zone has actually been designed to make you, I'm sorry to say the word, but to make you lazy. If you get out of your comfort zone, only then you can actually develop your career.
Encounter your true potential.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of people, they are sitting there in that comfort zone and they blame others for not being promoted or not getting into a better position or. I always give an advice to people, take a risk, but managed risk or calculated risk. Get out of your comfort zone. Try to make things in a different way. And because when you're doing something and you're not achieving the results that you're looking for, you cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. The minute you get out of your comfort zone and you're taking risks, first of all, it could work, it might not work, but you're learning again from your mistakes. So the simple advice is that get out of your comfort zone, get out to the world, try to take some risks, take the initiative, and as we were talking about earlier before even we started this interview, what's the worst that could happen?
The world is not going to end.
The world is not going to end.
It's going to keep rolling.
Absolutely.
Sameer, it was an absolute pleasure having you in our studios today. Thank you so much for coming over.
It's a pleasure.
And best of luck to you. We'll see each other very soon.
I look forward to it, and Happy New Year. And hopefully 2024 will bring us, the best out of it. Let's put it this way. I'm always looking forward for the future, and I always believe that there's something better that will happen.
Definitely.
No matter what. It might take a little bit of a while, but you create your own destiny, you create your own opportunity. Always think positive, always think about how can I do better, and the good things will happen.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mina.
As we conclude this enlightening conversation with Sameer, it's evident that his leadership at KEO Consultants has not only shaped the company's trajectory, but also contributed significantly to the advancements of the engineering and architecture industry. We extend our sincere gratitude to Sameer for shaping his insights, and we hope this episode inspires future visionaries in the field of engineering and architecture. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Visionaries Champions of Industry, and stay tuned for more. In the meantime, stay inspired.